New poems. Crossings. 1. Laura would often say, LOL, my apartment is an enlightenment club. Heat filled the foyer and the toaster shot bread at the ceiling. But those happiness drops were not, had never been, ours to behold. Complicated layers of meaning compiled from plastic tooth cup to sudden breath of clouds. The stillness between trees, hoping to find a minute to think. 2. Certain sorceries to be disposed of summarily. The earth was unmoving, the sky continued, do not repent. No revival of intimacy, since we were never together. 3. The merry-go-round with Rhine maidens was angry. A dream of being and becoming was the unity of the two, the dialectic. 4. Dichondra surrenders to rain. Spectacle of tower indicative of a show. Suddenly I feel so tired listening for somewhere to go. Hang a left, sidewalk ends, someone says stop, evidence of an axis of X's. 5. After years you blinked a single thought. Laura, her fish-like iridescence. A past visitation. The flies have nibbled and moved on. 6. Tomorrow on the planet Ammo, the sun slunk back in its socket. A book within reach, but 6 words are too many. A noted precipice fell away. I wasn't sorry. 7. Silhouette speckled with growths of calcite or cave popcorn teardrop tapered to a point, a pamphlet of emptiness disturbing your theory of flowering. Did you mean once, as in upon a time, or one time only? My too short sabbatical was made even less remarkable by glimpses of vague forms. Curios. A faint impression, the flight of swallows, lightly troubled in the somber sky. You've made a living with your impressions, but not a killing. Why so cavalier about sleeping your way to the bottom? My dream for all Americans is to be able to take a call on the treadmill. Thankfully, the sidewalk doesn't resemble an orgasm, nor is chlamydia a flower. Most young boys who hang out on street corners become bus drivers in their later years. Good drivers make poor poets, just an observation. One knows that Chicago is a large city, though it feels like 2 Newarks affixed. People who care about what people think of their city are not from here. A look of snow. It's a funny thing how little time it takes to walk off a buzz, with the whole mantle of the avenue trailing behind. The idea of an open space, generally unavailable but already formulated ideas, fall short when you step off the bus, gliding through a series of meetings, despite the snow piling up, with everyone glugging down bottles of Pouilly Faucille. Aesthetics is an alien proposition. Still life, portrait, battle scene, urinal. But when exactly did we get our license as creatures of taste, running naked through the forest? Ode to New Jersey. My neighbor Steve is a quiet guy. We say hello in passing, but rarely speak at length. I can't give you the exact address of my building, but it's under a dome of horizonless sky enclosing the entire state. Not funny. Transient. Broadcast an unending apology for life. A fly circled over a wrinkled magazine. Garçonnier. I come from a cloud so quiet and high, even bar-headed geese can't reach me. These curtains are so generalized. You can hear hangers clinking in the neighbor's clothes closet, or a shunt of air. Who will give me a sidelong glance, or enter into some rezoned district of intimacy which comes into focus, just long enough for me to feel bitterly disappointed? Other than the idea that I should live for my friends, what fills my days? At the edge of town, a certain tone is missing. It's nothing, really. They got so used to my not being here that they didn't notice when I began to be present or absent again. Come forth the day. What could have been my life, I don't know. My mother, Sisi, Empress of Bavaria, made sure to isolate me. Bored, stiffer yet. An occasional cablegram. Worse than nothing was all I got from her. Duster epaulets. Could one afford to affect singularity, honesty? Let's go to the Finger Lakes this weekend. Why not? We're both mature. Strange to see the bent spoon in the sky, hear the putter of private planes fading in the morning dove. Throughout the day, its plaintive call. Let's drop all pretense. Stillness, finally. Yellowing paper on my desk, to a low plant's head of an evening moth. These fragile ferns wrap the pavilion in translucence. When did the cul-de-sac become something to cross at night along with other streets? The week should have a buffer day for an unbalanced tea. Deli coffee. Cheryl related a succession of lost, dissonant, temporal, dreamless intervals of blank stares ensued, walking into inevitable constructs, a collision of realms while asleep, floating metaphysical winter, she whispered in Aubert's ear. A series of dates in a calendar comes to mind, but the pages are smudged, and the days are obscured. It should be possible to recall what falling in love was. All you need are a few facts, like the month and the day of the moment. An object or place would be okay, but better, a record of movement or speech. By extension, anything that isn't ordinary language is beyond consideration. All day, asphalt bubbled like curses. I used to believe that the economy, like society, was something I had little affect on, so I never cared a fig. Plus, I just had a checkup and found myself discussing great books with Dr. Schumpert. Jagged coastline. Unpeopled mountains are frightening. I would like to go to them without being a person. Violets appear in the spring. A spell of indifference settled upon one. Tired as we were of each other's company, not to mention the madhouse promenades around the ship. Once, on the months-long voyage, we treated ourselves to an orange. Maintaining an idea of oneself is the only thing worth doing, despite evidence suggesting otherwise. You can try learning from it, but you don't. A sphere twirled in a squall. Mustn't jump up and down on the short-lived horizon. Cups. Should one pay fealty to objects? One asks, when will I find love? I don't know. Maybe next Wednesday. I wrote all day, went out to eat and wrote some more. Nearly everything slipped away, including the waiter who is abstractly preoccupied by how little time there is. Can someone tell me where he is or isn't, how many pinpoints away at this moment? I'd prefer a less despairing cup commemorating my birthday rather than one broken and pieced together again. Speculations on moving to Mars. By the time you see the cliff, I will have gone over it. Or not. Horizon receding. Then there was a need to distinguish myself by minute shavings, insisting on their importance. So many labels on the luggage, hardly a friendly face, blue-eyed. Never underestimate the moment when someone explains your life to you. Something you thought was inexplicable, suddenly tossed in the air, like three flies in a knife fight. Since turbulence is real and not an accident of personality, you can undo an omelet. The docks are gone. The water is distant. Alpha Alpha as bright as a banker's shade, like another person's breathing, his belief in dreams, his out-of-this-world recipes, frequent apologies, I'm sorry, our scheduled departure time, a shimmering aphelion away. Rooms. I have dusted off my old answering machine and I'm going through the fires of purgatory. As Keats said to his brother, we are in separate rooms, reading from the same book, like blind bodies. The Horticulturist. A slow opening of the sycamores on a sunlit morning toward the end of knotweed season, fungus chewing its way out of boxes, caterpillar inching forward like a mustache. A carton of Marlboros arrived, a gift from an ex-wife transcribed as a longing for ditches and droves that cut through reeds like streets between skyscrapers. Repeated proposal of an all-expense-paid junket. Went unheeded at the last minute. Once, in a bus station, I saw a man with eyes that went deep into his head, stretching for miles. A burnt offering got him through the day. On the motorway, psyllids pour from car windows. If you don't know what I'm saying, think of a wide net. met for catching no-see-ums, bumping their noses in the mesh, a sacrificial numbness on the face of it. Letter from Singapore. It isn't false modesty, which fortunately requires me to be in France 45% of the time. So when I can't stand the heat and humidity of Singapore, I know I'll soon be sprawled in the Luxembourg Gardens reading the Herald Tribune. And conversely, when I get sick of the gray skies and stale croquet monsieurs, I know I'll soon be heading for the equator. Self-abnegation isn't disguised as self-regard either. After all, life in an unfamiliar city gets so silky you can't feel yourself anymore. No edges. A minimal presence is required, something wispy passing through a tubular darkness. Gossamer seeds catch some of the frequency. Decalte Sophie. The one true cold snap of the season scrambled our codes, had us groaning on the green. An oxymoron like affordable housing redoubled one's faith in the evanescence of vapor, whiteness of hard water, how else to live? Besides, parking spaces could be usurped by haystacks. If it were permitted to us to be nostalgic, it would be for the Rhine maidens, the day's congealed light or residue of fire coughed up. Red umbrella. In the evening, the riggings of the boats click in the breeze. Midway up the shore, a crescent vein of salt flats is hit upon by accident, enough salt to last hundreds of years. Why must everything be so functional? Crane, clock, the church. The landscape is poor. The sheep have eaten all the trees. They had nothing. Jim, the tortoise who ignored his wife for 10 years before making love to her one night, died doing it. Another man woke up in Cuba. He saw no boats in the harbor. A bird caught a worm, but couldn't eat it all at once. I laughed at the zigzags of fire escapes. One of those grins plastered on buses. I've never entered the shadows from the stairwell. 2 weeks after I began taking Whammo, I left my filthy apartment. There was no gap, the water sliding line and the line after that. I've created a narrative, but don't go there. The discovery of Violet. Violet was blue. F minor, saddest of all the scales, on empty streets. A scissors gray. Traffic lights, like lipstick instead of stones in some smeared heaven. You could light a cigarette with a banknote or crush pearls into a milky liquid. Sunlight streams through the windows as the early morning hours drag perfectly pitched between storefront blue and absinthe green. Bronx neighborhood. Nature as seen by a stick in the mud passerby, or to the TV, a confessor of sorts. Edith doesn't sit so well amid the luncheons. The sick boy in the shop of the gem cutter. I presume we're all fully responsible for once. Last year's tax returns drizzled down to the letter. Yet the scale of one's life is equal to the old tenement scrolled concrete stoop. I'm not talking about a national absence, like Lincoln's face on a scratched penny, but a more recent memory, like the crystal columns of the nail salon where the post office used to be. New poem. Rimbaud. It's pronounced Rimbaud. Quote, epitaph. The older authors become, the more a single idea takes hold of them. Martin Valsan. It was all there. The slow cancellation of the future, though headlines like Mother in the Grip of a Sea Monster have become somewhat routine. An ineluctable estrangement ensued. Why, I can't explain the irrepressible dialectic, subdued sense of the world as it is, translated into sense what might not be available to reason. Falling asleep together is an act of community, and meditation is a way of not speaking of the past, or just not speaking. Native realm. You could sit in airplane mode and watch the world go by. Eventually, it catches up with you, a separate flock of birds rising all over Europe. Las Vegas is Las Vegas for sandwiches and coffee. Heathrow is difficult if you have a stutter. Also, the words hazel and depot, two, blood. Surely the literal society isn't a book club. Think of the closely guarded secret of its latitude in the age of the sky. Without much effort, you uphold your part, what it is. There are worse things than slow service. Salads over St. Louis, moons over butter, glass-eyed ghosts of departed stewards point to slight time differences between various parts of the land on your tray table. If nothing else, it helps alleviate associations with cabin doors opening or closing. Night. The meadowlands a stage, globe which turns upward, rotating the night. Let he who is without melancholy calculate the darkness and square off. Swirling wind and snow cast a nativity. It is Bombay sapphire, the feathered breaths of pale horses' surest exit. John Keats. Just like her to leave a bottle of water on the top of the car. Olive groves, chirrup of cicadas continue unabated. How beautiful the rock-faced thistleweeds and cypress trees. Nevertheless, we sat for 2 hours waiting for car service, keeping with those who remain single or begin families. Efforts at euphemism regarding death, yet they go on about Athens. What else? Not my kind of thing. The streets fill up with their circulating shadow of an old lady, showgirl of long ago. The elegant economy. Touched by lively curiosity, each face and trivial circumstance in the household had the power to charm, one's mutant ability to transform a finger into a pen. Was it Boscovich who discovered that bodies never come in contact? Socially, I stuck my neck out, yet the ones I liked remained indifferent, while the ones who were crazy about me were repellent. I once valued a beautiful estate for the stripes in its awning, each a subtly different shade of green. You know what would mean the world to me? A zone of fruitful endeavor, which could run the gamut of long afternoons only mildly inconvenienced by overcast skies or passerbys at dusk. The point of the present, to be sifted through as pieces of the sky keep falling for days at a time, pinups made of crystals, the improbable face of a moving point, the midday stillness, sleep, and the smell of phantoms, water and flowers on every table. I wonder why my eyes have opened in an indefinable place. I wait for developments, whether to count my blessings or heap up batteries. Skip a couple of these. Go directly to Fish Story. Fish Story. The story ended before the book, but how? With the children going through grass gates, order of brightness of eyes downcast, design of faint stars, curious chin outstretched, the simple grid of a whale, unmoving like a hallucinated island that suddenly engulfs you with delirious spumes of water lost as breath, a steady trickle. Cross signals perceived, how light falls transparently on bridges or boats. You've mistaken a silhouette on the horizon for a guillotine, the white bear of the poles, white shark of the tropics, instances of freezing on a red-letter day. The madness of forgettable. An eternity of promises yearning to become pencil-lead. I see a water stain on Germany. The British Isles droop like grapes. Such pinks and oranges splash across the continents of my father's globe as sunlight edges over the bookshelves late in the day. Blue skies exist nowhere else in the universe. It takes a while to say something intelligent about these columns of rocks shaking with hiatuses, and even longer to develop any Sitzfleisch with waffle imprint for this kind of work. Unbearable profusion of books on chairs, as you can't sit down wherever you like. The party. I conceived a form of address which was recessional, multiple, and open-ended, like a wall-eyed luminosity inset in the wainscoting of rooms where Rhonda Fleming had complete control over me. Did that have anything to do with the moist brownies I'd eaten earlier? Überhaupt nicht, she said, to contemplate a wall at which sick people had for ages been aiming their spittle. No sense keeping tabs on mere good behavior. Too painful to go outside for the shifting white of winter faces. Exchange for the duration against mirror of sky, a thicket of newsprint muffled one's attention. Indian soiree. Of course, it was to do with the faint crackling of feathers under fingertips and opium tea included in the price. Undisturbed ashes of objects. The mosquitoes thickened as if running from a garden hose. Neither of us were able to recall how we met. I took exception to her leaving the casement windows open. My request was met with a beleaguered sigh. Our permanent zone of transit, a train, an arc, a fleeting vantage point, slow to pass. Still we rocked in their wake as on the sea. Maintenance. I didn't want to return to the lake, didn't want to know about the pool library, but silence was persistent with outstretched arms, comforting and horrifying me. Sunspots on an open can of tuna, and I'm eating avocados and reading about the reciprocal maintenance of pools. You can pack anything for your travels if it's winterized, even in summer. Your wildflower friends might enjoy a night swim, though the night lights, but no one expected your sister and niece to come barging in. My flush curdles with its own pronouncements, not while I'm at the office. No ideas but in Jesus. Styrofoam in the wind. A small percentage winds up on the shores of jolly old France. Who says there is no truth in beauty? Summer essentially disappears until my return to the States. Rebuilding trust with the city nearly impossible, as sanitation is unreliable. No frills. Chuck all luggage out of LaGuardia. Indefinite place. I've taken on too much. People often say this when they mean nothing of the sort. Wet wind, speeding clouds, interminable indecision, but a well-rubbed assurance. Some presentiment of a vast capital reached me obscurely like a misgiving, streaming along many radii. I counted chimney pots, some round, others square, fly on a lump of sugar through a window pane in the clock tower. Presents. Just wrapping up the old life here, a new one about to begin. You're not convinced that I'm dead. When the universe was one long citation with extended pinky, the conversation shifted its fragments. Our Ouija board used to score dope. Right now, I'm trying to picture our mustard yellow driveway and the file cabinet soon to arrive. The old woman who would be my wife crouched at the river's edge in the morning light, ice blue but not yet frozen. Billens Gedicht mit Schnauzer. Joining hands had been such a great idea, allowing us to face the future with childlike Dummheit. We bought a dog and named him Leibniz. Why must Potato Eater have a tobacco pipe with a cube at the end for a nose? There was something in you that I sought in others, to no avail. I have lost any inclination to laugh. You hold me, which at times will seem to you so much ballast. Message. Yes, I'm still not here. Stop by Walgreens to exchange an expensive garden chair exchange event for objects orbiting the parking garage. Throw in a skylight. Maybe in the hour of a close dawn, when awake. Somebody please explain how a name like Van Gogh resonates in Texas, and see how dreary public life is like, sleeplessness and destitute. I feel awful after a Zen garden of mashed potatoes made with my fork at Denny's. A most haunted person athwart sunflowers, trained to Rouen or Lyon, would be like taking death to a star. Through the leaves. There are certain types of dry periods that one should not be expected to relive. When broken, you felt the link snap inside you. If I'm in someone's presence, attempting to charm them, I secretly wish I was with the birds, flitting through the leaves, so they wisely might underestimate the impression they receive of being more than just a gimmick. Anyway, who's going to care whether or not you can produce notes in the spring? What about days of fever, when you can't be bothered being pleasant? The more you look into your own eyes, the less they mean. If by extension doing nothing can evoke a useful reaction, so can the appearance of everyday situations, which everyone agrees occur but then slip away. I do my best to keep up as they breeze through this farce of an arcade with coded patterns for a new season, its arrival and departure. vaguely uncomfortable in Connecticut. Without a central location where language must become truth, nothing hangs together. Which is fine if you've reached a dead end, contemplating nature with the windows rolled up. You can turn yourself into a sideshow, maybe not the bearded lady or two-headed turtle, but close. Sounds coming from the checkout, but no one moves. You fill a shopping cart with the natural wonders of the world. The answers on Jeopardy are always given first, but not on your deathbed. Blackbirds alight on neighbor's fence to feed on mulberries. Starry night, swirling among the unreachable stars, but you can't pick out any up close, and you don't feel the train arriving on its night journey. Wind through a skeleton has no story to tell. Should the love object be as patient as sand? She keeps you up all night, with the false rebuff of her painted frown. Daytime shadows of the world were augmented by mysteries, each creating its own final cause. Broken frame. There must have been another universe where you continue to lead a boring life, but still manage to slap something decent together at the last second, standing at a podium. Imbecilic faces gazing up at you with lolling tongues. The beautiful one in the front row, the only one with her tongue in her mouth, paralyzed you with her eyes. The spell was broken. You went on presenting. You mustn't let yourself be fobbed off like that. Life turned to its blank side, formally a pickup circus in front of Walmart, where women with granular veins made unfathomable sounds. Other people. Avalon with supermarkets, such depths you'll never know. You never knew how many wives were afraid of heights that couldn't be heard, as in the desert. The decision to retreat with something come upon alone. No one can help you if you lose a loved one to destitute. Winter's trace of big disconnects like Bergson's dead dreams of his teeth. Remember the eyelid of the gormless kid feeding bones to a dog. Poem. Ravenna said no. Meet me over there. But the distances were so great that we had to fly in order to see one another. She stood on a pontoon. Sue was making an abstract. She wrapped a wire around a cardboard tube to form something. Another person was disambiguated by Felicity. Meg had a disturbing way of eating, all about tasting life for the first time, then getting bored. It's a beautiful day for nothing to happen, to pour into our mugs, to open our mineral hearts. Absolute clarity makes its dutiful way to the surface. Blah. This is the standard way of explaining loss. I was. You were. They better be. It's freezing on the platform, waiting for the pipes to clink. Will they? Something's afoot. We are afoot. Resentment. Simply going for a drive at sunset. The light as it spreads across the fields, and you move towards the horizon and keeping low, a summing up of movement. As the sky comes closer and closer, we were in the serpent's land, far from the wounded city, flapping with abandon. In the morning and the evening, in the season of the plague, we burnt holes in our skin, so that nothing would be lost on us. Difficult to begin anew, reaching for an unknown while driving. This is the last rest stop, where there are needles in the toilet 50 miles east of Denver.